For the studio. Oh, all right. We got some talking to Ken about it, so chat room. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get this rolling. Let me take one more check and make sure, did you just enter?
Yeah.
Were you, was there anybody else there? I guess there would be.
No one was.
How did you get in?
Oh, I just went on the side and one of the other firefighters was extremely helpful.
We are helpful, that's our kid, right? That's what we signed up to do.
They're like, just run the side of.
Perfect. Awesome, well,
Thanks.
tell them thank you and take tomorrow off. All right. Okay, thanks everybody for being here. For those of you that don't know, my name is Rick Graves. Not Mark Graves, I'm Rick Graves. I'm the Public Information Officer for Portland Fire and Rescue. We in the city of Portland here are in the, hopefully the tail end of a significant winter event. You know, it started last weekend with very cold temperatures landing, a little bit of snow, but the ground, the soil was still warm. So we didn't have a lot of snow accumulation, it was just cold, but it stayed cold for quite some time and it really chilled out our entire environment. So when we began to get rain right around freezing temperatures, hovering around freezing with very cold soil, cold environment, we had a lot of ice buildup all over the place. And that, you know, all those environmental pressures have mounted and led us to have significant calls within the city of Portland for Portland Fire and Rescue. Whether that be our emergency operations, addressing car accidents and fires and medical calls, to our community health services group, the Portland Street Response and chat, out meeting people on the streets where they are, doing what they can possibly do. For reference, on January 3rd, just a regular January day, if you will, Portland Fire and Rescue ran about 375 calls. Throughout this period of storm, we are averaging around 900 to 1,000 calls a day. So we are nearly tripling our regular response, if you will, based on a snapshot of January 3rd. And many of these calls aren't 5-minute responses, they're hours of work. We can have multi-alarm fires. The number of water emergencies, I think it was 75 on Monday and 87 on Tuesday to 180 yesterday. So we see these waves of significant calls that cause property damage or displacement of individuals, and we're running, we're rolling wheels around, and they're constantly moving. We have enacted, or we have upstaffed our street level services so that we have specialized 4-wheel drive apparatus put into play that allow us the ability to gain access to places that just simply engines can't get. We're doing everything we can as Portland Fire and Rescue to best serve the needs of our community in this significant winter event. Which brings us to yesterday. Yesterday we had a live downed electrical power line that had some catastrophic results. Some of the information I obtained on scene was a bit inaccurate, and I'd like to clarify some of that right now. There was a large branch that came off a tree, brought a wire down over the top of a vehicle. In responding to that call and listening to that call, there was also a second alarm fire going on that I was listening to. So I had information bleeding in from both incidents, and I wasn't clear on some of the information, and I apologize for misleading with regard to my press release yesterday. I released that the individuals were in the car, and when they exited the car, they became part of the electrical circuitry from the energized wire touching their vehicle and then touching the ground. That is a possible reality. It didn't happen yesterday in that manner. But I want to clarify that if you are in your vehicle and you have a live electrical wire draped over the top of your vehicle, if you have no other reason to get out, it is safe to stay in your vehicle. The rubber on your tires insulates you, and it's going to save you. Professionals, the power line, the specialists who work for the power companies, the linemen, are wizards. they're incredibly heroic, and they know exactly what to do, and we defer to them in electrical emergencies. They can come and de-energize a line. If you're in your vehicle, stay in your vehicle, line is de-energized, you can exit safely. What we had yesterday was a large branch that came down, drew down a power line over the top of a vehicle, and the end result, unfortunately, a little bit of a distance away, we have 3 deaths. We have 2 adults and a teen. But fortunately, in all of that, we do have a toddler that made it through. And I don't understand the science behind it. I don't think anybody visibly saw exactly what happened, but where we are now is we do have, fortunately with us, a toddler that is going to be able to thrive and do what they possibly can as they move forward. And they're here in part because of the heroic acts of a member of our community. And when I started to communicate with Ms. Majaya Washington, she responded to me with the sentence, "I just did what any sane person would do." Come on. Selfless. So we are very fortunate today to have Majaya Washington with us to share her experience, and we'll let her share her experience. We'll go through some questions and answers. And at some point in time, if she's gonna be done, we're just gonna be done. But we'll let her share her story. We'll let you have an opportunity to ask some questions if you have some. And I will be back to, if you have any questions for me, but I certainly today, the star of the show is Miss Majaya Washington. Would you just come on up? So Majaya is an 18-year-old here in our city. She was a Jefferson High School, former Jefferson student. And fortunately for all of us, we have people like Majaya. So yesterday, go ahead, tell us about it.
Well, from the beginning, I was just laying in my bed. And I had seen a flash like from my curtains were closed. So I had seen it like through there. And at first I wasn't really too sure what it was. So I kind of like opened the blinds, and then when I opened them, I looked over to the pole and I realized it was the electricity pole that was being there, and made another like a loud like pop. And then I believe it was an explosion. But after that, I'm looking out my window and I see that a line had fell into a car. I didn't see that the tree was in the front. I had just seen the back. I seen the tree branch that was sitting on the ground. And the whole time, I'm looking out my window. I eventually came out, but there was 3 people outside. So I believe the grandmother, the mother, and the father of the child, and the mother's brother. Those were like kids holding. But the man, the first person to go, he was in the car, like putting the baby in the car. And then the car, the line had fell, and then it was like he was in the car trying to put the baby in the car, and then the line had fell. It was a tiny fire had caught underneath the car, but it wasn't like anything like too big. It wasn't even too big, like a small fire underneath the car. So at this point, the baby's mom was yelling to the man, like, you know, like, take my baby out of the car, take my baby out of the car. He swallowed the baby in his arms, had the baby in his arms the whole time. And he walked from over there where he made it to like about halfway, not even halfway up the driveway, like he walking up the driveway, and he slipped, he fell backwards, and the bottom of his foot had touched the line. It caught a little fire and it was smoking, and then that was it. Nothing after that. I was kind of looking to see if he was still breathing, but honestly, it was just so much going on. I didn't know what to think. You know, I'm just like. So then the woman had ran over there, like rushing to her baby and trying to grab her baby, and she had ended up slipping and sliding down. It's like a slip and a slide. So it slipped and then like kind of slid, like not even a couple inches down, and then she touched the line too. And same thing that happened to him, caught a little fire. smoke, and then that was it. Then after that, at this point, I had been outside since the man had hit the ground the first time. And I'm on the phone with 911 and I'm just explaining to them what's going on. And then a man, or excuse me, the teenager, he had ran past me. And he had kind of like slipped like on his way like down there trying to assist with the situation and fell like forward and his foot touched on me. The same thing. And at that point, I didn't know what to think. I felt like it just all happened so fast, you know, like, what do you think of something like that happens? I was just like kind of concerned about the baby at a point, like, you know, nobody was moving, but then like I would say not even like a minute, not even probably a minute after everybody, you know, had been there for a second, the baby moved his head, and that's how I knew, like, it was like, that's how I knew he was still here, basically, you know, like, so I crouched down, I like put a slid, I used my hands to break my fall, and I didn't land on top of his father, but I kind of like put my hands landed on top of him. And I just grabbed the baby and I pulled him up, I was swaddling him. And I walked him up the hill, like I made my way back up the hill, I was holding him until I could hand him off to somebody that was there to check him out. Yeah, that's like pretty much it.
Majai, you said you called 911 and talked to the operator about the baby and if it was safe to approach. What did she say?
She had told me like, you know, basically like, for something that like actually only is like, you know, like, if, how do I put it, like, if it seems safe, like not even that, but like more so like a at your own risk, like if what can you observe from the situation? Like do you think like then another thing she was saying was like, you know, well it could be dangerous because like they obviously were just like electrocuted. So like, you know, like I just had to think before, and the only thing I can think about is how he was still here, you know, like he was moving his head. So I just didn't want him to possibly fall, you know, somehow like slide forward, slide to the side and touch the water.
Did you consider the danger before you approached?
I honestly didn't think about it. I wasn't even thinking like, I don't even think I was in my right state of mind. I wasn't thinking like, oh, like I could be electrocuted. So I was more so thinking like I have to grab this baby. You know, I'm trying to put it all into that baby kind of side. But I didn't really feel any fear, no. I just kind of felt like, you know, a rush to get to me.
Can you describe how you felt when the baby moved his head and you realized he was still alive?
I was on the phone with the operator still, and I was just talking to her like, you know, she was asking me all the questions, I was explaining to her how everything was going, and I'm like, oh, wait, he moved his head, can I go and get him? Like, she's like, you know, like, basically asking me, because I at your own risk thing, and I'm just like, I wouldn't be able to go get him, I wouldn't be able to.
What made that rest worth it? What made the rest worth it, Shirley?
Honestly, and it's just the same thing. I don't even know. I just was thinking like, is somebody gonna go get that baby? Like, you know, his grandfather is there. And I didn't want to like, you know, scream out like anything. Like, you know, this is just like, it's like such a, it's just like a crazy thing to see. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it in my life. So I just, my first thought was just like, make sure he's okay, you know, because I have like a lot of sympathy for children. I love children. I want to be there.
How are you feeling today looking back?
Honestly, it's just unbelievable. I honestly can't believe that something like that happened. It's just like, it's just so like, it's hard to grasp. Like, you know, I can't even like really put it into words how insane it is to witness something like that ever in my life.
Have you spoken to, you said there was a grandfather there, the other family members, that they express appreciation to you?
Yeah, they thanked me after everything. I spoke to them. They're my next door neighbors. I don't know them personally, but you know, like just the hello on the bottom. It was definitely gave me thanks. Yes.
How much time went by from when the wire initially came down to when you were holding the baby? You remember?
This is like, I feel like all this happened in less than 20 minutes. Like how everything all happened, like it happened in less than 20 minutes. So I'll probably just say,
The dispatch call came at 11:42. Our crews arrived at 11:47, 11:46, and she had already had the baby in her.
Yes, it wasn't like a long, it wasn't a very long time, but in the moment, it just kind of felt like everything was going slow. So like, you know, when I look back, it's like, I can't even really accurately like, you know, I feel like go over the time. You know, like I feel like it was happening very slow but very fast at the same time.
Majai, with coffee just springing to action, you saw the baby move its head, when he was lying on top of.
Yeah, he was just like laying down, like, you know, like laying on his chest, like to the side. Yeah. Like I said, I just seen him move his head. I just thought like, you know, like I have a nephew myself, I have little brothers, just, I would want somebody to do the same thing. You know, like, yeah, I would hope somebody.
Ajay, you could have been seriously hurt or killed, just like those other 3 people on the ground. When you think about that, do you feel lucky to be here?
Like I said, it's been kind of weird. Like haven't even really thought about it in the sense like, you know, like I really did like something like that was an accomplishment because like I said in my mind, I'm just thinking that this is something like, you know, you see a baby, like, you know, who's not gonna go see a baby, you know, but I guess everyone doesn't think about it like that. So in my mind, all I was thinking about was like, you know, he's still here, so I have to at least try, like, even when he wasn't. I was kind of it was never like I was contemplating because it's not like I hate to say it wasn't like my first thought. Like I'm worried about everybody, but I'm like I can go, but I didn't think that I was gonna be, but you know, like somebody can go and get it big. Yeah. Like I didn't even really think about the risk before. Like I said, I was just like I wouldn't say it was fight or flight or like act or like don't act. I would rather I would rather risk my life. In the moment, I honestly was not thinking like, you know, I wasn't thinking like that. I wasn't thinking like not to hurt myself. I was just more so thinking the baby, honestly. That's why.
Would you say your work experience as a daycare provider, helped with your decision or?
I'd say even before I started working at the daycare, I like kids, you know, like I feel like kids are just so innocent, like, you know, they don't deserve like anything, you know, it's just too, do I say like, it's too early on in life. I feel like, you know, like they have their whole lives ahead of them, so like, you know, I don't know, I feel like he deserved, like, you know, like he deserved to be saved, basically. And I don't even look at it like I saved him. I feel like I saved him. I just feel like that's something that anybody should have wanted to do. You know, like the baby, like.
Do you know the baby's name?
Yeah, his name is Nam.
Namir.
Yeah.
It's been a little, it's been a little over 24 hours since this has happened. You know, what is your life been like for the last 24 hours or so?
It's been regular. I've just been, I've just been trying to rest. Like, it's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like a lot of sympathy for the family, but I don't know how to feel about it personally, because I feel like, you know, like I didn't take the loss, so it's not my place to like, you know, it's like, oh, like, you know, I'm upset like for them, you know, I'm upset for them. Yeah, I just, that's really.
Have you had any more contact with the family?
I had sat with the grandmother for a little bit, so her children got there. That's about it. Mhm.
I think you were asked this earlier, but you know, a lot of people would say that you're a hero for doing this. What do you think about that? When someone would say that?
I don't know. I kind of like, once I like downplay it, but I kind of downplay it a little bit because in my mind, like my first instinct is like, you know, like go get the baby, like, you know. But obviously, like, you know, as a little bit of time has went by, I realized, like, you know, it was kind of, I would never say, like, something stupid, but I don't regret it at all. Like, you know, I would do it honestly. Like, I really have the most sympathy for children. So, yeah, like, I just couldn't see me changing anything about how, you know,
Did you have your brothers live inside your last night?
most definitely. I feel like always after something like this, especially when it just comes from, when it comes out of nowhere, when it happens in a way like this, I feel like it's all you can do.
Seem to be it.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, obviously, what a humble individual. You know, don't we need more Majaya Washingtons out there? Absolutely. So, the scene that she was within and responded to, as I read the call notes, was very heightened. There was a lot of emotions going on. And this young, calm individual in our community came out and made a huge difference. So I thank her for making herself available. I thank you for allowing her to share her story so we can get out there and let people know that you can reach out to your community and you too can make a difference. She did something that posed an incredible danger. She did so swiftly and successfully, and we're here to be able to share with her, or have her share with us what she experienced. So, are there any questions with regard to specifics of the incident that I may be able to answer for you?
To clarify, so you mentioned it wasn't the original circuit completion situation that you.
Correct. I think it's more along the lines of what Majaya described and she witnessed. And I was, surprisingly enough, I reached out to her last night and we didn't make any connection until this morning. So I was unable to gather that specific information, but where the family or individuals ended up, as I don't not confirm their family, where they ended up is where they, encountered the electrical field that had such catastrophic results. We are still waiting on official word from the medical examiner if this was an electrocution. I think all points lead towards high amounts of electrical activity affecting their ability to be alive. But we still need to wait for official declaration. I don't have that. I don't have names. I don't have ages, none of that.
It was because they stepped on a wire.
As per we just heard, yeah.
And then just to clarify the condition of the toddler, is doing well right now.
When I saw the toddler inside of the back of the ambulance being assessed by the paramedics on scene, completely unaware of the gravity of the situation and surrounded, that is I don't know if it's him, so you know, the baby, sitting up, diaper on, looking around inside all the bright lights of the ambulance, reaching his hand up, little smile, is a delightful looking child. Hit home.
So when you arrived on the scene yesterday, 15 minutes after the call came in, was the electrical wire still on the car at that time?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I arrived before the power company did. The power company arrived probably 20 minutes after the call came in, so they responded quite quickly. You know, the power company is much like Portland Fire and Rescue, like they're not stopping, right? They're going around the clock. We had a fire this morning, pretty big house in Southwest, and we had draping lines across our access points, and power companies was requested at like 5:07. They were already en route, like 5:12. They were en route from East Portland, and they got to the scene and assessed the situation prior to us being able to actually recall the incident. So they're out and about, and you know, we're lucky just to have that relationship because they show up and make it safe for us to do what we do, you know? So the linemen they're miraculous, right? It's pretty amazing that we're able to control fire in these wires and live inside this lovely area that we call inside, right? We're not outside. And we do that because we have real smart people who know what to do and keep us safe. And the linemen are some of those. All right, well, thanks for being here. And that's that. Are there anybody on Zoom that has anything?
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you.
Go ahead.
This is Gillian with the Associated Press.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Hold.
Can you? Yes, can you hear me? This is Gillian with the Associated Press. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I have two questions. The first question is, we've been saying the baby is a toddler, but I saw some media reports that the child was 9 months old. Do we know the age of the child?
I do not know the age of the child, but Majaya might know the age of the child.
Yes, he's 9 months.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Najaya. And then the second question I had for you actually was the audio quality is not great for us on the Zoom, so I didn't quite catch how you were able to get the baby out of the father's arms without getting electrocuted.
I had just slid down there I slid down there like kind of crouched and I had actually made contact with him. I did touch him. I didn't like really I wouldn't say like a great touch, but like I kind of touched him with my hands and then I just grabbed the baby out of his hands and made my way back up the hill.
Okay, so but you didn't get shocked or anything in doing that?
No.
Okay. Well, that's very, very lucky. And then if I can, I have one more question for uh Rick Graves. Do you know was there any question about whether those trees should have been trimmed? That tree should have been trimmed by the power company or anything like that, or
That's out of the wheelhouse of Florida Fire and Rescue. I didn't take any like intense visuals when I was at the scene. The tree and branch was a distance away from where I was interacting with individuals. So I didn't see the tree. So as a citizen, I can't say, oh my goodness, that should have been treated or addressed. So that's an issue that's out of my purview of expertise.
okay. All right, thank you.
Rick, I had one question for you.
Oh, what up, boss?
If you wouldn't mind just walking through the chronology one more time, beginning to end, just so we're clear.
At 11:42, we received a dispatched potential car fire. From there, the dispatch notes indicated that there were two callers, one of them being Majaya, who was interacting with the dispatcher, and another hysterical is what the notes were about the other caller. So the information was there's a car on fire, there are people on fire, there are three individuals unconscious, there's a baby. The one caller has asked to go get the baby. All of this occurs before 11:46 when our crews arrive on scene. Our crews arrive on scene at about 11:46, 11:47 to find three individuals in the location where they were about 20 to 30 feet away from the vehicle that they were attempting to interact or get into, I guess. Everything they did was an attempt to save themselves and be safe. And unfortunately, they were away from the car and crossed the power line, and it appears as if they were electrocuted in that 3 to 4 minute period of time. And from there, upon our arrival, Majaya transferred the care of this young child to our paramedics who gave an initial assessment. American Medical Response, AMR, diverted a car to the call so they could provide transport if needed. They also provided on-scene medical assistance and then transported the child to the hospital. I am unaware of which hospital, and I don't know the current condition or outlook at the moment.
Understood. Thank you. I appreciate that. And as far as we know, they were trying to get into the car and not getting out of the car. Do we have clarification on that?
I have no clarification on that. I don't know if they were getting in, getting out. I do know that there were belongings strewn around the car. It looked as if that they were either getting in and it occurred or they were in and got out of the vehicle, but there was a bag, there was a car seat away from the vehicle that looked as if it was probably within the vehicle. Austin, this is all conjecture. This is me guessing, given that a significant, potentially very scary event occurred, and they reacted and did everything they possibly can to make sure that they were able to talk about it today.
Does Majaya know if they were coming out of the car? Did she see any of that interaction?
What was your question?
I was just wondering if you saw the family, if they were getting into the car or if they were getting out of it.
They were beginning to get into it, like they were prepping themselves to take off.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Is that the only question?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, I think that's.
Hi, Majaya.
We're
I
good.
have a question for Majaya as well, if possible.
I'll
With
answer
this-
a last question.
Oh, thank you so much. I was just wanted the audio quality wasn't great for us as we mentioned earlier. So just wanted to confirm what you were saying about the driveway, how
Yeah.
you saw they made it. Can you just describe again what exactly you saw there?
Like when they were on their way towards the driveway.
Yeah, like what
Oh,
were you seeing them coming out
I
of the
seen
house?
I seen everything happen from the beginning to the end. So when they were walking away from the car, they had gotten about not even probably halfway up the driveway because of how slippery it was before everybody had slipped and like kind of slid down into the water. It wasn't a far slide, but it was like most definitely like a slip and slide down, you know?
Okay, so they were walking initially from their house to the
They were
car.
walking from the car, and then that's when everything happened. Or they were in the car still, and then after everything happened, they were walking from the car.
Okay, so you did see them get out of the car.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
Can I ask one more question of the fire department there? Do you know if the branch had ice on it? The branch that fell, was it iced?
Again, I didn't see the branch.
Mhm.
We had a significant ice storm. There was ice everywhere. When I left my location to go to this particular call, it was the first I had actually attempted to get into my vehicle, and I had about 3/8 of an inch of ice coating my vehicle. That is what was coating all of the power lines. That is what was covering all of the trees. Water weighs 8 pounds a gallon. We had a very large branch. I'm going to say it was like 18 to 20 feet in length with a broad, small branching out of other branches that can capture a lot of water. Again, water is 8 pounds a gallon. It's going to be heavy. We also had a little bit of wind, not terrible. We're getting more wind today, unfortunately. But you have these environmental conditions, whether you have the intense cold and the increased weight of the ice, you're eventually going to have failure. I did not see ice. I think it's safe to surmise that there was definitely concerns. The reason it came down was probably just the increased ice or weight that it was bearing. So, but again, I didn't see it, so I can't with affirmation say yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.